Welcome to Tampa Home Talk with your host, native Tampa real estate girl, Katrina Madewell, a full-time, passionate, out-of-the-box thinker, love for home ownership kind of realtor with over 21 years of combined mortgage and real estate experience. Tune in every week at this time for expert advice on everything you need to know about home ownership, finance, maintaining great credit, building wealth, and making your everyday life better, and how you can be financially successful today and tomorrow. Remember, love where you live or let Katrina fix it. Now, here's your host of Tampa Home Talk, Katrina Madewell.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today for Tampa Home Talk. This is your host, Katrina Madewell, and you're listening to us on the Real Estate Radio Network. Really excited to be back. Had to pre-record our show last week because I was actually in San Diego for Real Estate Radio Network training and conference and onboarding, helping some new hosts get launched around the country. What a fabulous experience that was. I had Jen, my radio show coordinator, with me, and we just had a great time. I have a couple of announcements I want to bring up because we have some exciting things happening over at our office at Tampa Home Talk. And then as soon as we dive in today's show, we are actually going to have a special guest, which is one of my longtime friends, past clients, and their story was kind of unique in a certain sense and very individualized, although we see just about everything in this crazy market. So I thought it would be a great story to share with you today on Tampa Home Talk. So first things first, coming up, we are going to be hosting a Financial Peace University. So yes, I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan, and we're going to be doing a 9-week show for, 9-week class for Financial Peace University. And that class actually begins in July. I'm trying to get my dates here in order. We are doing that starting July, I think it's the 26th. Let me just verify that. I should have had that date written down. Yes. So July 26th, Saturday, 10:30. It's going to be about an hour and a half, and it'll be for 9 consecutive weeks. And we are going to teach you how to get that debt in check, eliminate it, and really just master your money. So if you're not familiar with Dave Ramsey or any of his teaching or Financial Peace University, you will definitely want to join us. Space is limited. It's in our office, which is going to be in the Lutz, Florida area. It's a quick little commute from pretty much anywhere in Tampa Bay. And I thought I would be excited to be hosting our very first one in our office. So we've heard from our clients over the years many, many times that, they probably would have taken it sooner if it wasn't in their church, if it was kind of a more neutral location. So we're really happy to be hosting and facilitating and coordinating that class. So coming up, and don't forget to sign up for that, again, limited space. I have a couple of listings that I want to talk about real quick because these are not listed on MLS yet, and also getting ready, and have another one actually just hit the market. So I've got one that's only $154,000. It's a newer home. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, about 1,800 square foot in the verandas, right off of 52. We actually have some great loan programs available right now where you can purchase that home for 0 down payment. And it's not a very old home at all, so your payments will likely be much lower than what you're paying in rent. We can connect you with Silverton Mortgage, our show partner, to give you the details on how much that payment would be. But don't forget to check us out or ping us. You can catch up with me at tampahometalk.com. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter at Tampa Home Talk. You can also catch us at our off-air number, and you can call us here or text us here at 813-377-2775. Again, that number is 813-377-2775. And you can call me or text me on that number, any of your questions, and we're happy to do so. We also have another fabulous piece of property that I'm happy to be listing. A longtime friend of mine's parents have lived there for over 50 years, and they're finally deciding to downsize and be empty nesters by choice and move. But what a great property they are leaving behind. This one is actually in Thononosassa. It's on 2 acres. Amazing property. Amazing. Several little buildings and structures on the property. One of them's like literally probably a 3 to 4 car garage with a workshop with power and water and all of that stuff where you could keep tools and work on cars and all of those things. There's also another little section right next to it where the in-laws used to live. So you could literally put a camper or a trailer or something like that if you had people, maybe that family members that are snowbirds that travel on their travel travel trailer. They're looking for a place, and it has its own hookup, its own water, its own septic, its own power. It's an amazing little property. And that one is actually, we put the sign up. It's funny. We've been getting calls and we didn't even have a price for it yet, but we have a price for that one now. And we're going to be listing that one at $225. And that one I think is going to fly off the shelf. So that's a kind of a pre-listing perk. If you're listening to Tampa Home Talk, it'll be one that hits the market and you'll have the opportunity to see it and bid on it before it actually hits MLS. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my guests, which are my friends and clients and just all of those things wrapped up into one. And I'm very happy to have them on Tampa Home Talk today as my guests to share their experience because it was a bit unique. There's a lot of, bank-owns and short sales and regular sales out there, but there's a lot of things that come with bank-owned properties that I think most people don't really realize. And a lot of times some of the things we're seeing right now are inflated title fees and that type of stuff, which we're actually going to talk about on a future show. So be on the lookout for that with Aaron Davis and his in-house attorney. But for now, I'm going to have Keith and Alicia share their story with you about what happened when we made an offer on this bank-owned property. Good afternoon. Are you with me?
I am. Hi there.
Thanks for chiming in.
No problem.
So I thought, Alicia, your story for you and Keith was a little bit unique because it's not really something that we see every day. And it was the first time that I've ever really encountered that. I guess it could be a good thing if you look back, but at the time it wasn't such a good thing. So I'll let you kind of start from the beginning and share your experience by all means, with our team when you're done. But let's talk about the experience you had with this particular property that we found.
Okay, well, we found this property that we just really loved. We walked through it. It was on, a parcel of land that looked like it had the back side of it had a wooded area that looked like it was maybe an easement for the road that came behind it. It's in a cul-de-sac, and we just kind of fell in love with it, and we put our offer in, and
so let's go through the motions on that, Alicia, because if you remember and you think back, okay, this was a bank-owned property, so we saw multiple offers, right, which is very common for this market.
That's right. We saw multiple offers. The price on the home had actually been lowered a couple of times, I think, and so we had caught it right when it had been lowered, and so there.
Oh my gosh! Let me just chime in on what you just said because that is so important. I share this all the time when I'm with sellers that are thinking about how to price their property. That's an interesting point that you brought up because many times if a property is priced a bit too high, once it gets reduced to a certain point, we'll see the floodgates kind of open up, and that's what happened on this property. That's what you're sharing about.
Right. That's exactly what happened, and so several people had then put in offers as well. And so when those offers went to Freddie Mac, they sent back that they had multiple offers and that we were going to have to, put in a new offer and that they would take the highest bidder. So obviously we worked with you and you gave us a great number to then to give back. So we got accepted for that offer, which was fantastic. And
so everything's going smooth, right? You get all your paperwork into the lender. Right. You get that process going. That's fun and enough in itself, right? We get past home inspections. Everything's going pretty smooth, right?
Pretty smooth, yeah. Everything's going pretty smooth. We had a couple bumps, but no big thing, and it's all going smooth. And we were given a date to close, and we went down there to close on the property, and we're all excited, about moving. And we get there, and unfortunately, the title company did not have everything set because there was actually an additional parcel that was not listed in MLS. So
here's the interesting thing. So let me chime in on this and just back you up just a little bit before we continue.
Okay.
Because what happens is, when we write the offer, we have to set a date in the future that's a realistic time frame that we can meet for closing escrow, right? And if you remember correctly, in those addendums and in the contracts that these banks write up, they're going to have a per diem. So a certain amount per day that the buyer has to pay if you don't close on time. So if your lender hits a bottleneck or it gets hung up in USDA for financing or whatever the issue is, if you go past that date, they'll likely give you an extension, but they're going to want a per diem. So they're going to, do you remember what the per diem was? I forget how much it was a day.
$75.
Okay. So $75 a day they want if you're delayed. So we did our part. We show up on time. We're there to close and sign. And then, like Alicia mentioned, we find out the day of closing, there's this extra little parcel in the back that they wanted to include, which would have been all well and good, but the reality...
Which in their mind, they kind of had included because they weren't even asking any extra money for that parcel. They had thought that the whole property was going for the amount that we had bid for it. So they didn't want any extra money.
Well, they didn't even realize that there was an issue with the contract, which was executed until they saw the survey. Then they realized that there was an additional parcel, and these actually had two separate parcel IDs, like a vacant land parcel and then the one with the house on it. And here we are, we basically we're ready to close, and they go, oh, by the way, we got another parcel that we need to give you with this one. We're like, okay. So... try as I might, and I was trying, I was pushing as hard as I could. We had attorneys in the room, and we were in the lobby. We weren't leaving till we got it done. Right. But they... And you had this great idea to sell it to us for cash, which I think if it hadn't been with a big company like Freddie Mac, that would have been an extremely reasonable offer, right? Yeah. Yeah, they're so particular, having to have their REO numbers attached to the property, and there's so many red tape and protocol and that type of stuff that's required that, it's just, it can be a mess sometimes with that respect. So essentially, I offered $100 to basically buy this other parcel for cash, treat it as a separate closing because it had a separate parcel ID where your survey's not required. We don't have to change the survey we done, which was on the property that we purchased. It matched the contract that we signed, which was what was offered at MLS. And essentially, it didn't, we went up the chain. We had to wait several days to get that thing hammered out. And then the next thing you know, here we are. We basically, they wouldn't let us do it. It drug on for like 3 weeks.
Right. It was a mess.
So, I mean, and it's something, I tell you, it's quite a level of protocol and just things that have to get involved. And we gave you some contact numbers, right? And I know that you guys reached out to Freddie Mac directly.
So, yeah, I reached out to several people. I reached out to Freddie Mac directly first because, I felt like that was the right thing to do, was to just go to them. I did not get any satisfaction with them at all. I was told that I was going to get a call back, and they never did get back with me from that original call. And then, so I took it onto social media, and I wrote them a letter stating exactly what I thought and exactly what happened and how I felt about it, and put it on their Facebook page. And I put it other places as well, and I created a link on Twitter, but the response I got was from the actual Facebook post I put on their Facebook page, and they did get back with me with that, and although they unfortunately did it through a third party, they hired someone to call me to deal with the problem.
I tell you, social media is getting more and more powerful. I know we have some different short sales and stuff that we're working on, and they could just bounce me and the homeowner around, and they just yin and yang you back and forth and across the board. And the next thing you know, at least finally, like companies like BOA, they've stepped up their game where if I send out a tweet, they're on it. They're going to have somebody call, and then somebody from their social team is going to get somebody else involved, and they can kind of shake the sugar tree a little bit.
Yeah, right. So the person who, was dealing with me from this third party was they tried. They were working with people, and and I think they got a hold of you, and they got a hold of Silverton, and got a hold of the title company. They were trying to figure it all out, and they finally agreed that they kind of said we'll go ahead and combine those parcels, because originally they had come back that they wouldn't combine the parcels.
Well, they weren't going to. Yeah, they were absolutely not going to. And the problem with that is, you were getting an FHA loan. And with any type of government loan, whether it's FHA, USDA, or VA, they do not allow multiple parcels. So it doesn't matter that it doesn't matter if it's a 2-inch strip in the back. And, the bank's take on it was, hey, we foreclosed on both of these together. We got certificate of title together. We want to sell them together, which really, theoretically, they should have done in cash. But, the problem is their addendums are written so one-sided with their attorneys that, you're fighting Freddie Mac.
Right.
So, but I'm glad that it worked out for you guys. And I know that, they're not all smooth. We tell everybody in advance when we meet with them, it's just like taking a flight anywhere. We can encounter turbulence. It's my job as your skilled, experienced pilot to get you where you need to go and try to get you there, safely on time to your destination. But anybody that's taken a flight anywhere knows that you can encounter turbulence. It's just part of flying. And it's the same thing in the mortgage and the real estate world. If you're going to get a mortgage and or buy a house, there can be something wrong. Even if you're paying cash, we see, issues on title, and this would have been an issue on title anyway, even if you guys were paying cash.
Right. Yeah.
So, and you could have combined them later, but you might not have wanted to, so there's a lot of different there's just crazy little things like that,
Right. There's always something that's going to come up that you're not ready for.
So did we decide what we're doing with this infamous piece of land that took you 3 extra weeks to buy?
Well, I think I don't know. I'm thinking about putting a hammock on it and letting you have a drink out there, Katrina.
That sounds like a fabulous idea. I would put up a couple hammocks and we'll all hang out and barbecue.
That's it. That's what we should do.
So let me ask you another question while I have you on the phone, and since I have you joining us today on air, what is the one thing that you and Keith love the best about working with me and my team? Like, what's the one thing that if you were going to tell someone else about us, what would you share?
That you guys are real, that you guys really, you don't talk above us. You talk right on our level, and we're able to understand everything you're saying, and you work with us until we get it. There's no trouble understanding you or having any language barriers, which was very helpful because we were very new to this process. So we appreciated that for sure.
And, for most people, buying a home, it's not something you do every day, right? So,
I hope
not. There's a lot of things that can happen. God, we see it every day. We see it every day. There's always some little hiccup in the industry.
But the big thing is, Katrina, is that we love our home and we're glad we're in it. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. I love your home, too, and I think it fits perfectly for your family, and we're very excited to be part of that process. Thank you for letting us help you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, thanks for joining us today on Tampa Home Talk. So,
thank you.
If you're just catching us today, you're listening to Tampa Home Talk, and you can catch out any of our shows in their entirety via a podcast if you miss it. And just search online for TampaHomeTalk.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter and across the web at Tampa Home Talk. We have to take a real quick break, but we'll be back in just a minute. Stick around. Thanks for hanging tight there. I know we left you on the edge, but that's okay. We have another guest coming up next. I think is Michael Maher on the line.
I'm here.
Hey, Michael.
I loved hearing that. I loved hearing the turbulence story, and I loved hearing what she would tell others about you and your team. And I think she pegged it. I think she hit it on the head. You're real.
I have to be. And it's so funny that you say that. And it's funny that she said that, Michael, because I was thinking about this listing appointment that I went on last night. And there had been already, I think, 3 other agents that came in before me to interview and meet the homeowners and go through the details. And, this is somebody that's, they bought their home back in the peak of the market, right, in 2006. So they know they're not going to get quite that much for it, but they know the values are way up. It's kind of still a rural area over by where Amazon is being built, so it hasn't quite developed yet, but it's coming. And it's just interesting because I show up and I hear all about how there's this old school agent with the flip book, right? And all of these stories, and that's me. And when I show up, I'm always me. I'm real.
Yep. Well, that's what's so attractive, right? Authenticity is the most attractive element, and that's why I teach, finding and getting in tune with your authentic generosity. I seriously believe that's the key to life and finding your purpose is recognizing what your authentic generosity is. The generosity is how you are able to serve and help the planet, help the others. And authentic is the you-ness of it and being real. And you are unique to how you can help your friends, your clients, and everyone else. So there's a unique, authentic generosity to everyone. And that's what I help people find and discover is that A is you have lots of ways to give value to the world, and there's lots of ways to be an appreciative receiver of everything that you deserve.
And you have to find what you love too, Michael. And for you, sharing and that type of stuff, that's your passion. For those of you listening, Michael Maher on the phone with 7L. He wrote, he's best-selling author with 7L Communications. And I know you got some other stuff going on over there too, don't you?
Well, yes. I have a real estate company in Kansas City. I live in Atlanta. And the generosity generation is my primary focus. I encourage people to join the generosity generation. We show them how to get on the real path to prosperity, and the path of prosperity starts, believe it or not, with generosity. And we show people how to get on the path from generosity to prosperity. And the 5 steps in that process.
It's interesting, Michael, that you coined the phrase generosity generation, because I think, especially in our business, it was so competitive, for many years, and it still is in some respects. But I think now, more than ever, like the generation that we live in, they're very giving. They're very caring. They try to help. I know I do that. Like a lot of times I will just do things for family and friends and people in need, and I don't even say anything. I just do it.
You know what? You hit it on the head. And the other part of it is the consumer has changed. The consumer used to have this attitude of find me, sell me. Find me and sell me. And now the attitude is ask me, help me.
Right.
And so the consumer has changed, and so we've had to change in the process, which is great. But I have to tell you, what's so funny. It's so amazing what we grew up in, Katrina, and I know that I'm older than you are, but during that time of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and even before that, was ABC was always be closing.
Right.
Remember that, right?
Yes.
What was the movie that Glenn Ross? Remember that, where it's A always B C closing. And, he pulls out his brass balls and so on and so forth. But what's funny is that's no longer the case, right? Nowadays,
people don't want to be closed.
No.
They don't want to be closed. They don't want to be sold.
Exactly. But they want to buy.
Right.
And what's funny is there's a new ABC, and that is A, always, B, C, contributing. Always be contributing. Always be giving value everywhere you go, every interaction you have, like you do. And when you are always contributing, what happens is you are also invoking the law of reciprocity. You're putting out there a lot of value, and the law of compensation says the more value you provide the world, the more the world will compensate you for that value.
That's right. The more you give, the more you receive. Absolutely.
Totally. But that's the problem, right? Is we've been told to give, and we're very good reactive givers, but we're very poor proactive givers. If somebody has a problem, we hear about an incident or a tornado or a hurricane or a tsunami, we're phenomenal about providing water and help in that case. But where we really have to be is every day we need to look for opportunities to provide proactive generosity. When we are proactive, which means, foresight, with our generosity, when we help someone out of the blue and provide value into their life, A, it's awesome, right? How would you like people to do that to you, right? And then
so Michael, I'm curious, what are some of the things you do, like day in and day out? Like, what are some of the examples of the things you're talking about?
Yeah, so there's 7 ways to give massive value first, right? So there's 7 ways. One is you can think about someone, right? People think that the way to provide value is to pay money or give people money, but there's really 7 ways, and 6 of them don't include any of your money. One is thought. You can think about another. You can, and honestly, I mean, today that's kind of what happened. Is I thought about you, right? So what happened? Then I checked your post, and I was like, hey, I can help there, right? So I said I could help, and look at this. Now we're on a semi-spontaneous radio show.
Those are usually the best ones. Like when I have guests get rearranged.
Yeah, don't you love my script that I'm working off of? Yeah, which is totally no script, off script. And
I was going to say, if you got a script, you type that sucker fast.
Yeah, no script, just me. This is just the real me. But so thought, and thinking about another and praying for another there's power to that. Number 2 is talk.
Michael, hold that thought, and I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to share on something, because when I went to your training booth, it was interesting. You said something, you probably don't even know that thought is still with me, but you were talking about how sometimes you'll see online these posts that people put, and they'll say, oh, think about so-and-so, pray about so-and-so, and people say, yep, give you my best, I'll give you my prayers, this and that. But you said something very profound, and I think, and this is where the good thinkers are, the people like you, the people like me. Instead of just saying, oh, yeah, sure, they're in my prayers, why don't you actually leave a prayer on their comment? You remember saying that?
I sure do, and I practice that every day. I mean, I'm a big believer in that. I mean, how many times have you seen it? Hey, my husband's in the hospital, some complications, please prayers. And so why, I mean, is it good to say, he's in my prayers, or we're thinking about you, or something like that? The answer is yes. It's awesome that you would do that. But I truly believe there's a power in actually putting something in the comments of that Facebook. And truly, put your prayer right there. Dear Father in heaven, holy smokes, provide this family some peace. Let them know that it's going to be okay. Give the surgical, tactical, phenomenal ability to the surgeons, and allow this to come out in its best possible light.
And it goes back to
rest,
being transparent again, being authentic, being genuine.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think it's generosity, right? I mean, the difference between love and generosity. Love is a superpower, and just so you know, guys, I need you to really listen right now, right? Women, you kind of already get this, but the guys, love is a superpower, right? And you guys that grew up in the same household I did, which was we never said we love each other, and if you cried, you were weak. You need to get over that, right? That was a whole era ago, and now's the time. It's okay. It's okay to be transparent, and in fact, it's good. And it's good to cry. In fact, do it right now. Go ahead. It's okay. I think the big thing is love is the superpower, but generosity is taking action on that superpower. Generosity is love in action. So what's funny is, I mean, what if you saw Superman kicking up his feet and watching TV every single day, day after day? You would go, man, what a waste. What a waste of potential. He could be out saving people. He could be out saving the world.
Show up and be your best. Anybody can be lazy.
Exactly. And it's the same way when I see the audience in front of me, or the people that I come in contact with, is they have a superpower. It's love, but it's untapped. It's unused. And once you start to use your superpower, it creates not just a dent in the universe, but an absolute hole in the universe. I mean, and what happens is the world has to fill the hole of that universe, and they fill it back with value back to you. And love is so attractive. It's so dynamic. It's so energetic. When you walk in love and act in generosity, people want to be around you. You know,
you ooze that high, that feeling, the endorphins.
You totally do. And the thing about love is it's a huge, powerful way to not be thinking about yourself, right? So many people are into their own thoughts, and I've got the cure for low self-esteem, right? I have people all the time. Well, I haven't felt very good, or I've got a sister who's got low self-esteem. Let me tell you what is self-esteem. Self-esteem is what you think about yourself. Well,
That's
I'm
right.
going to tell you the solution. The cure to low self-esteem is, you know what? Quit thinking about yourself. Think about others. If you're always thinking about others and how to provide value and how to help others, guess what? You'll never have to worry about your self-esteem. You'll never have to worry about it. You're going to see the value that you provide every single day. So the cure to low self-esteem is quit thinking about yourself. You know, think about others.
So,
and just so you know, that's the cure to call reluctance. A lot of people have this whole 10,000-pound phone phobia, and the truth is if you're not making the call to the people you know you should be making calls to, it's a selfish maneuver. What you're doing is you're thinking about all the reasons you shouldn't call, and you're thinking about yourself. But if you're calling with the spirit of helpfulness and the spirit of generosity, every single person you know would pick up the phone and love that conversation, right?
Right.
So you know, what it does is generosity is powerful. It's love in action. I mean, it's a superpower in action. And God didn't have us fly. He didn't have us super fast, except for Usain Bolt. He didn't have us be able to have X-ray vision. He didn't have. And the thing is he gave us the most powerful superpower ever, and it's love. I mean, it is truly love. You can move mountains. You can create countries. You can free countries from dictatorship.
And it's sure better than the opposing feeling.
Yeah.
So what was your next point that you were starting to chime in on?
Yeah, so I'll just run through they all start with T. I'm sure there's the C personalities out there who are like analytical,
Yes.
you know. So here it is. So thought is one way to give massive value first. Talk is another one. Talent is the next one, something that you do very well. And it may not pertain to your business. Like, I can help people with Facebook and getting likes. We have 49,000 plus likes on Facebook.com/referral guru. And I can help others do that same thing. And then, so then the next one is, let's say, treasure. Let's put treasure there. And treasure is you can pay them money, right? You can give them money or support their charity, whatever it may be. And then you're going to have team, which is a very powerful one. That is when you connect people in your network to each other, right? Somebody connected me and you, right?
They did.
So,
I don't remember who it was, but you're right.
Yeah, so it's one of those where that is a way to give massive value, and honestly, that's one of them that I use all the time. Like, I could introduce a speaker to you to have on your show, right? And I would be more than happy to do that.
Anybody connected with you, Michael's a friend of mine. I'd love to have him on anytime.
Well, thank you. And then okay, so here's another one that's really, really powerful, and this could be the differentiator that makes all the difference between whether you get business or not, or whether you have a referral relationship or not, and that is teach. You could teach another. There is so much wisdom in people's heads, it is not even funny. And even with all the books that are produced every single day, the person that's listening to this right now, their memoirs need to get out of their head, and you need to teach another, even if it's a 6-year-old kid, even if it's a teenager, but also it's professionals in your network and in your city, in your community.
So
you should teach them.
So what's some of the advantages? And I know that you practice what you preach. So if you're talking about, say, a competitor, and you're saying teach, it could be somebody right in your market, use real estate. How do you mastermind and teach and care and give and share with those people in your network?
All right. So real quick, number 7. Just so you know, because there's 7 of them.
That's right. I keep skipping around on you.
And then just so you know, you hit on a very important one, which was teach. So the number, so number 7, but it's the most valuable. It's the most valuable resource that you have. The number one way to give massive value first is time, right? Is you can give your time. When you're giving your time, understand that you're giving the most precious resource that you have. So, and by the way that I appreciate my referral sources for referrals is I don't give them a referral fee. I don't give them money because, A, we can't, and B, it's not a good idea anyway. The number one way that I show my appreciation for referrals is with my time. It's with my time. I will spend time with that person and help them and share with them and be generous and support what they support. So let's go back to teach, right? So I gave you the 7 T's of how to give massive value first. Teach is very powerful because you have to realize that when and by the way, I did all that from memory. Can you believe that?
That's awesome.
It's like crazy talk, right? Obviously, I don't need any.
You probably gibber it in your sleep, Michael. You just don't realize it.
Something like that, but I've definitely thought about it a lot, and I've given different presentations. I've taught this a lot, so that brings us back to the moment, which is when you teach, you have to realize 2 people are benefiting. When one person teaches another, 2 people are learning, and that's what's so powerful about teaching is that, and you don't have to just teach. I'll tell you what, Katrina, as brilliant as you are, you should be teaching your local chamber members, like the retail shops and the people who would join a chamber, the small business owners and so on and so forth. You should be teaching them how to get referrals. You are so good at that. Just play the conversation you just played with your clients. You essentially, you were real, and you had a major hiccup in that. You handled it so smoothly, so comfortably. You had a great metaphor to help them through that, and then you asked them what they would tell another, right? Which is not only was it great, but you were actually also coaching and teaching them a little bit about how to refer you, right? Because now she has at least once practiced what she would say to another about you. Now, the next time she says something about you to another, she's going to say it a little bit better,
right?
Because she had that practice with you once. So there's so many powerful aspects to having teaching be your differentiation point.
We love our clients, and sometimes it makes that whole work-life balance thing impossible when you love what you do, right? If you love what you do, you never work another day in your life.
Yeah, amen.
We have to take a real quick break, but we'll be back in just a minute. Stick around. Welcome back. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk. We still have Sarah on the phone, Cedric. Is she with us? I have a really good friend of mine, Sarah Cricky. She's also one of our show partners with Silverton Mortgage on the phone. So I hopefully she's listening to some of the stuff you said too, Michael, because you're just a walking wealth of knowledge.
Well, thank you.
Sarah worked with the Schaefers as well, which was the first client that we had on air.
Oh, nice. And she's a lender?
She's a lender. Are you there, Sarah?
I'm here.
I know you've been listening, hanging out with us.
She has not. She's been on her phone texting about closing she's got, about borrowers she's got to handle tomorrow.
Tell them what I'm worried about right now, Katrina.
To be honest with you, Michael, she's got huge fish that she's frying right now. Not that she's not doing that, and that's why she's so dang dynamic, because she puts everybody ahead of herself. But she just had a house fire, believe it or not. Like Sunday, she had a house fire, and she was out of town, and she just saw her house for the first time today.
Right.
Oh.
So,
wow.
And she, this girl, like, she would just put other people first. As a matter of fact, she did. Like, she went there and she saw it and she left her boyfriend. She goes, "Hey, Phil, you got this. I'm going to leave now. I got people to help."
Wow. Well, I'm sorry to hear about the fire. I'm hoping Nobody got hurt, right, Sarah?
Nobody did.
Nobody got hurt.
Poor little gerbil.
Okay, so nobody got hurt.
Went off
and
in there.
did any of those tokens of mementos get destroyed? Any of that type of stuff?
I mean, Katrina was nice enough to, because I needed to work for some clients today, and Katrina was nice enough to send some help my way and to clean what could be cleaned of mine. And thank you, Katrina. She did that without my even asking.
Because I knew you'd say no, so I did it anyway.
That's called proactive generosity.
Yep.
And isn't it great to receive that?
Yeah, and so very sweet of her to do that, because I'm stressing over, the things I have to do for others, and then my stuff is falling apart. But most of it's not salvageable, but personal things, knickknacks, photo albums, I think are. And so we're just trying to clean up the little stuff we can keep, and we're just going to have a throwing everything away party.
Well, I wouldn't suggest a bonfire or anything like that, but it does kind of make sense. And what a great attitude you have about it all. And
well, it happened on my birthday.
Oh yeah, it gets better.
Yeah.
It happened on my birthday, and like I said, it's so bad inside that house. Katrina went straight over and videoed it for me, and it's so bad inside that house that had we been there, we wouldn't be alive. And so, I mean, the only reason the home didn't burn to the ground is because I had locked it up and closed the windows, and it basically extinguished itself when it ran out of oxygen. So every single centimeter of that house has damage. The windows melted on the inside. So, I mean, we're really just fortunate for that. I was in the fetal position on my birthday, and then, you just have to suck it up and move on and try to have a positive attitude.
She had to put on her big girl panties.
Yeah. Well, you weren't there. I mean, there's so many positives. I mean,
yes.
It's just like, it's you weren't there and nobody died, and everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that.
I believe that too.
And who knows? I mean, maybe this was so maybe this happened so that Katrina could step up as a friend, as she always does and did, and somebody else is going to hear this story, and they're going to be more attractive to Katrina, and that's a great relationship in Katrina's life, and who knows where that butterfly effect or generosity effect will end, right?
Yeah.
So cool that you have.
She's been there for me all along. It didn't take a fire for her to jump in and try to help me. She's always been a great friend. But I do believe everything happens for a reason, and the universe is trying to tell me something. I just need to figure out what it is.
You know what the funny part is, too, Michael? Like, we get a lot of relos, right? A lot of relocation buyers that come to the area. And many of them, especially in our market, they can't wait to book a flight and all that stuff. It's going way too fast. So for many years now, like if you look at my YouTube channel, there's just pages of properties and things that we've videoed for people and client testimonials and all of those things. But she knew that I was really good with video, right? We've been doing this stuff since 2007, early 07. So she knew I regularly videoed properties for clients that would many times buy them sight unseen. So she goes, hey, I'm just trying to figure out like if everything I own is like completely toast or if anything's salvageable. Do you think you can do one of those little video thingies? And I didn't even think about it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Too cool. Too cool.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I mean, honestly, I think our last 5 minutes of this conversation is really what life's all about. It's not about the material things that can go up in a fire. It's about the relationships that we get along the way,
Right.
So I think that's a great point.
Well, she just insulated her friendship with me for all of eternity. So.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
And for me, really, it wasn't a big deal, Sarah. I mean, it's who I am at my core. I mean, I was sharing at the beginning of the show that we're going to be having a Financial Peace University workshop at our office next month. And it's just really, it's important to me. I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan. I think if you can keep your debt in check and not have any, you'll be able to not only help yourself further, but you'll be able to help a lot of other people. And I think I drive her and other people on my team nuts with that stuff, but I chat about it all the time, don't I?
You do. Yeah, you do, but it all makes sense.
So Michael Maher, you're listening to, he's a best-selling author with 7L Communications. Really happy to have you back on the show. Sarah Cricky, Silverton Mortgage. She worked with Alicia and Keith that were on the show earlier, sharing their little story about the extra parcel in the back. You guys have any more closing thoughts? I think we got about 4 minutes left.
Well, my closing thought would be when searching for real estate, find the right home. But when searching for insurance, choose the right policy.
Amen, sister.
Amen.
That puts insurance in a whole new light for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't worry about it until it's...
Make sure that it's not an actual cash value depreciated type policy and that it's going to guarantee replacement of your items. Do those things to protect yourself, because the fire that I experienced, which is my topic for the day, is one that was so sudden and unpredictable. It was a wire shortage in a kitchen, and nothing was in use in the kitchen. It was quiet in the house 1 minute and literally blew up the next. So, again, fortunate we're not there, but who could have predicted that would happen? And so make sure you've got adequate coverage.
Wow. I love that. Katrina, next week you need to have an insurance guy on.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny, Michael? I told her, I said, it's so funny that you had this. Like, it's awful that you did, but I just had, like, all these claims adjusters and, like, natural disaster restoration companies on my show in the prior weeks. So I was able to pop over 3 people right away that could help you out.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that I couldn't get my head wrapped around how it was possible. And I was on the phone with the fire inspector, and she said, I said, listen, nothing was even on. She said, but it is on. She said that, the power is running to the kitchen. She said you might not have been running the dishwasher, for example, but if you push start, it'll start. And she said, just a faulty wire can ignite, and it literally did. It lit it off like a bomb. You saw it, Katrina. It was disintegrated. There was you could even recognize that it was a dishwasher. So that's just something that nobody could predict. Was going to happen, and so that's why they call them accidents and things. So just make sure you've got enough coverage so that you don't want to be worrying or panicking when you're dealing with devastation. That's for sure.
It's the last thing I think on anybody's mind when they get insurance, but It probably should be one of the first.
It should be one of the first. It can happen to anyone.
Michael, any closing thoughts there? You had a lot of words of wisdom. Like, this is the show that someone should go back and listen to the podcast on, which you can catch at Tampa Home Talk on Facebook, Twitter, and across the web. You can find us at Tampa Home Talk and TampaHomeTalk.com. Also, all of our shows are on our podcast. So, closing thoughts?
Well, I think Sarah brings up a great point. This should be a great reminder for everyone to review their insurance policies: homeowners, car, motorcycle, boat, the renters, the whole 9 yards. Hey, you know what? Let's pop this up and do some comparables. And every time I do that, it seems like I can find a cheaper rate somewhere and more coverage somewhere.
Isn't that the truth?
That could save people thousands just listening to that part.
So
I think the bottom,
we work with some of the best too. So if you're looking to re-review your insurance policy, give us a call here on our off-air number, 813-377-2775. We'll be happy to connect you with an insurance guy or gal that can help you review those policies. Again, 813-377-2775. You can call or text us on that line.
And that's the power of the team. And you are such a giver. I love it. You know what? I have 5 words: give generously and receive appreciatively. That I live my life with, and you have given me a generous opportunity today, and I receive it appreciatively. It's great to talk to you again, and great to meet Sarah, and great show as always.
Always happy to have you on Tampa Home Talk. We're going to have you. We have a treat actually for you the next time we invite you on the show. So I'll have Jen, our radio show, coordinate that with you in the near future. So I think we're getting close to the top of the hour. So with that, I'm going to bid thee farewell. And I want to thank you, Sarah Cricky with Silverton Mortgage, for coming on. Michael Maher, 7L Communications, best-selling author of 7L. If you haven't checked out his book, definitely do it. He's been on some of our past shows as well. Amazing guest, amazing author, amazing person. Thank you guys for chiming in.
Thank you so much.
And that's going to wrap it up for our show today. You can catch us here every Thursday and Saturday at 5 p.m. And again, we're available across the web at Tampa Home Talk. And you can catch us off air at 813-377-2775. But that's going to do it for this week. Bye for now. We are out.